Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Matt here. I know usually I do lighthearted stuff like movie reviews. If you would like to see my channel, there's quite a few movie reviews. It might be entertaining to you. I'm making a video today because I wanted to. Because I didn't want to just make a status that said my opinion and then feel like, oh, well, I'd rather make a video and actually say what I think, and maybe it'll make someone else react differently or think differently or see or understand why I'm thinking the way I think. But to start off, it's going to be about politics in our country and the police and what's been going on lately, and other pieces of information. Anything I say is my opinion. I'm not saying it because I think it's right. I'm not saying it because, well, I do think it's right because or else I wouldn't want that to be my opinion. But I'm not saying it because I think it's, the only truth or the only right thing. I'm not saying it because I think you're wrong if you disagree with it. And I'm not saying it's 100% accurate. If I say something that you disagree with or that you find inaccurate, if you actually take the time to watch this video, or you find is inaccurate, please correct me. Please comment, please message, whatever. Say why you feel that it was wrong or how I was wrong. Because if I quote something or I say something, it's from what I remember, from what I was taught in school, but if I'm not saying that's 100% accurate, but I try my hardest to remember what's right and to learn what's right, because I don't like having wrong information, whether it's beneficial to me or not. I'd rather know the right thing than know what's wrong. It's the same way with cars. If I think something's right and I learn it's wrong, and someone teaches me and shows me why it's wrong, that's now what I know. It's not. I'm not going to stand by something and just blindly follow it because that's what I think or makes me feel better. The only thing I can really say that about is the Bible, because that's my religion, and my religion is very important to me. But at the same point, I try to be very open-minded and loving towards other people. So that being said, I'm a Christian, and I've never been the type of person to hop on the bandwagon, F the police. I've never been. I was raised under a lot of my family was in the military. I was raised to respect authority. I was raised to respect the police. The one thing my dad told me when I was younger is he said, cops always like to be in control of the situation. He never said screw the cops. He just said do what they tell you, and they always want to be in control. Even when they're just in normal conversation, when they're off duty, they always want to be in control. That's what my dad taught me. He never said, you ought to be a cop, or he never glorified it. He was more into the military, into the Navy. But anyways, it just so happens that my activities when I was younger brought me into contact with the police. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I became to hate them, because there's certain police officers I respect. There's certain COs and jail guards that I respect. I respect certain judicial officials, judges, whatever, and then there's others that I don't, just like every other people. But it did give me experience. My activities, whether illegal or not, did give me firsthand experience with dealing with the police on the receiving end. So that being said, I like to start off with another thing. Like I said, Christianity is very important to me. So the Bible comes number one in my life besides God and Jesus. So I believe it's Romans 13:1. It says that all people are subject to the governing authorities at hand, and that God put those governing authorities in place. So I've never been someone to say screw the police, basically because the Bible told me not to. And that might sound childish to you, but sorry, that's just what I believe. So anyways, I'm sure if you have any type of social media or a TV or ears in this country, then you know about this big situation going on between African Americans and law enforcement. Now, it's anytime someone's getting killed when it's not necessary, or anytime people are getting killed, that's sad. That's sad. But the thing, at first, I never really had that strong of an opinion about the whole thing, because I've done when I've read articles about homeless people killed by police, other people killed by police, that were not African American and unarmed and unnecessarily killed, slaughtered, however you want to call it. And so I kind of said, well, okay, but obviously, I wasn't going to discredit what these people were protesting about, because African Americans felt like they were being attacked as a whole, and that they were being targeted. And I wasn't there at every shooting. I wasn't experiencing it firsthand. I had done my own situation with the law. I had my own opinions about the law before I saw them doing that to other people. But basically, it was sad, and I didn't know. I wasn't there. I didn't know the truth about every situation. But it was obviously being shoved in our faces, right? And we all knew that cops were getting away with it, and yada yada yada. So, sorry, I want to collect my thoughts for a moment. So, like I was saying, I've had my own situations with the law where I felt like I had things stolen by the police. I've been beat up by the police. I've had cars taken by the police for, that I paid for cash money and I owned, and I never got to see again, because it just doesn't seem right. It feels like you're being robbed, and there's nothing you can do about it because it's the police. So I've seen people treated unfairly by the police, by prison guards, by jail guards, by judges, by DAs, I've seen people betrayed. You feel betrayed by public defenders. You want to have faith in these people. You pray to God that these people are on your side and that they're really there to do justice, or that might be a little harsh, but especially for public, justice is different in everyone's eyes, but maybe justice isn't as harsh as what they believe as you believe, and it's frustrating. You lose a lot of faith in the system. Just yesterday, my mother and I were at court because she took me because I don't have a license, and the court wants me to go to do all this different stuff, but at the same time not drive. So it's like, if I don't do this stuff, then I will get violated on probation. But it's luckily I haven't, and I thank God for that. So anyways, we're at court, and there's a Spanish man who is on the calendar before me, and he needed a translator. So they had a translator there, and before the translator began speaking to and from the defendant, the judge stopped everybody and everything and said, okay, the state acknowledges blah blah blah, please state your name, please state your number, your certification, blah blah blah. She had to give a very official and prompted recognition of her status and her certifications as a translator. All she was doing for that man there today was translating his communication between him and the judge. So obviously it affects his life, but it was handled very officially, and there was no joking about it. Now, on the other hand, police officers every day are pulling people over, pulling guns on people, driving illegally unmarked cars, tasing people, beating people up, arresting people for bogus charges, or arresting people on charges that they illegally shouldn't be arresting people on. All kinds of different stuff. And here they are, and you never hear a cop walk up to your car. Excuse me, before I conduct this investigation, I'm Officer John Jameson, and I'm badge number I was trained at this camp. I am from this county. I have this firearm. I'm giving you my official information. No, they come. I mean, obviously there's situations where they need to come guns drawn, but it just kind of made me confused that there was a more formal introduction and security check for a translator than our police have when pulling guns and pulling people over and doing whatever. And hopefully you can see the relation I'm making. Here they are, this is official protocol. You must do this for a translator. Meanwhile, the police are what protocol? I mean, they're pretty much making up protocol as they go. And then 2 weeks later, okay, hopefully it was followed or the case might get thrown out. Either way, if you get arrested on bogus charges, you're still going to go to jail. Believe me, you're not going to go down to jail, and unless you're giving the police information they want, you're not just going to have everything. It was an accident. You can go home now. Sorry about that. No, you lost time. If you had a car, you probably lost your car. If you had a job, now what if you didn't show up for your shift? You lost your job. So, and what if you want to bail out? Well, that's going to cost you money. It's not free to bail out. If you win your case, you don't get your bail money back. Oh, well, okay. So, well, I was all fake, so I'm going to get a lawyer. Well, that's going to cost you money, because don't plan on your public defender giving you any time of ear or any trying to be on your side basically at all, unless they really think that you're not, that you would be better off. Basically, you're wasting space in the jail. Then, I mean, the way the system works right now is based around money, whether you like it or not. You get DUIs, you pay your way out of it. O.J. Simpson bought his way out of murder. It's money, it's fines, it's fees, it's lawyer fees, it's bail fees. It's not. You could be arrested on the most bogus charge, spend 10 days in jail, bail out, beat the case, and you're still going to be set back. You're not going to return to where you were in life before. You're going to be out for the bail, you're going to be out for the time lost, you're going to be out for what you lost due to being incarcerated. You're going to lose time, you're going to lose money for a lawyer. It just doesn't, it's not a fair system. It's not, you got to have money, and if you don't have money, then you're pretty much going to sit there and do your time or do what they tell you to do and play nice. Because if you don't play nice, then you know what happens. You get locked up longer, you get put in solitary confinement, you get beat up, it doesn't make any sense. So if the police arrest you on bogus charges, you go, you beat the case, you're still out. You still lost. You still lost money, you lost time. It doesn't make sense. So anyways, that being said, I already saw what happened. Okay, so there's huge tension between the black community and the law enforcement. Now, I know what I am. I'm obviously a Caucasian person. I was where I grew up. I had black friends, Mexican friends. I was not raised to think of people as less or more than me. Now, people who come in with an attitude that I don't like, whatever color they are, I'll be pissed off at them, whether they're white, black, Mexican, Indian. If I feel like they're have a weird attitude that is negative anyway, I'm not going to be very nice to that person. But it has nothing to do with race. I find other races very interesting and just very interesting and something I'd want to learn about. And I feel like God put different aspects in each type of people he created. But anyways, I'm not going to lie and say I did all my research, but I'm not going to say that I didn't have a very strong opinion, because sometimes if you do form too strong of an opinion, it ruins your relationship with other people. Or I just wasn't sure, so I wasn't going to go spouting off about what was right and what was wrong, because I wasn't sure. And I had my own problems to deal with, and I still do. But I will say this. What happened last night, all you see on Facebook and on the news is black man killed, this man killed, that child killed, this woman killed. And it's obviously becoming a huge issue, especially for the African American community, because they feel like they're specifically being targeted. And last night you see this news article, 11 officers dead, 5 wounded, whatever, or 4 dead, 11 wounded, whatever it was. But it didn't say anything about suspect dead, this person killed, this many. And I was like, what? Is this fake or what is this? And it was confusing. And then I finally read it. And based on what I read, what happened was there was a rally in Houston about protesting about the unarmed civilians being killed, African American obviously, and they planned it out to where once the police showed up, they had snipers that were gonna shoot the police, and they did. And so Kevin, I already saw people posting videos or memes, pictures about Blue Lives Matter. You know, the police were killed last night. We need to defend the police. This is wrong. This is that. This is that. I already saw Kevin Gates release a video. I don't know if he was directly talking about Houston. I think it's what the title said. Oh, well, those people are belligerent and they got what they deserved, and you know, you need to show respect to authority, and you need to show respect to yourself, and if you're belligerent with police, you get what you deserve, and da-da-da. Coming from a guy who raps day and night about selling drugs, drive-by shootings, guns, sex, and all of a sudden he wants to tell someone else that they're being belligerent. But he's talking about constantly selling violence, whether it's true or not. And if it's not true, then you're just using it to take advantage of people's minds and selling them violence and scary sex tales and whatever, and so you're gonna sit there and say, oh, but these people are being belligerent, and so these people who feel like their very liberty, their very freedom is at stake, and they feel like they need to defend it. And if you've never been in that situation, then you don't understand it. Then you don't know what it feels like to be cornered, truly pushed in a corner, to where there's no more. We're only human beings. We're not perfect. We aren't, it's no excuse to do something wrong. But so here's Kevin Gates talking about, oh, shooting, guns, revolvers, 45, blah, 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 sell crack, sell this, that. And if you don't, I don't really listen to his music, but what I've heard, that's pretty much what's in it. And sex is, and then he's going to tell these people, oh, well, you're being belligerent. You don't have a right to stick up for yourself, because they are being harassed, unarmed, and killed. And it's like, okay, Kevin Gates, you sound pretty intelligent, and yes, all lives matter, but you you have no credit to what you're saying, because you're being a hypocrite. And so that didn't really, and you know what, this is what it all comes down to. When I heard the video last night, when I heard the news, I wasn't sad, I wasn't mad. I felt like the African American community did what they felt like they needed to do. Because those police officers, you say, oh, well, the police officers had families. and the police officers did this, and they were innocent, and they were trying to protect you and me. Really? Because I have plenty of experiences where they weren't protecting me. They were taking stuff that I worked hard for, or that someone in my family worked hard for and gave to me, and taking it away from me and to where I won't get it back. And there's no point in trying to get it back unless I want to get killed or arrested myself. So, for the police who claim to be such a noble and humble cause, all of a sudden they're pulling the trigger and trigger happy and this, that, and the other, and now all of a sudden they're really facing they're really reaping what they're sowing, and it's all of a sudden they're innocent bystanders, the police. Yeah, do you think the police was being selfish when they killed these people? You don't think these people have families just as much as the police do? The police take a sworn oath. These people didn't wake up in the morning and say, I swear that if I have contact with the police, I have the right, I will be killed. No, it's sad that people got killed. Don't get me wrong. Pray, to God Almighty, that's sad. But the Black African American community. Okay, now this brings me to another point, and this is where, if something doesn't sound right, or if I'm quoting, I'm not a history buff, but if I remember correctly, certain people that brought slaves over from Africa used the justification. I don't think it's the same as the white man's burden, but they used the justification that they were teaching those Africans to be civilized. They were doing them a favor. They were bringing them over to America to train them how and raise them up in how to be a civilized, good people. I wouldn't just make something like that up, because I remember hearing that in American history as a college course. And that was one of their justifications that these slave owners did was, yeah, we're teaching these savages to be civilized and da 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 da. Okay, so America, a country founded on basically the fact that they were being wronged by England. Okay, you think that the Americans didn't kill any of the English, or that the Americans didn't that the original patriots didn't, you think there wasn't bloodshed? You think that they just made peaceful protests and just left England? No. That's what our whole country was founded on, was sticking up for what you believed was right. So apparently these slave people that brought slaves over were training these slaves how to be civilized and just people. Now these African American community, they believe they're being wronged so greatly that they need to take matters into their own hands, and fire back at the police. Which the numbers, 4 police dead, the numbers still aren't even. I don't want any police to die. I don't want any black people to die. Any African American people to die. But I'm just being realistic. So apparently, according to that theory, they've been trained right, because they feel like they've been wronged so greatly that they need to do something about it. Because that's exactly what the founding fathers did, and that's what they claimed they were doing to the slaves, was training them how to be just and right. And if they just got done doing that, leaving England, then isn't that just and isn't that right? Isn't that the whole Declaration of Independence and the Constitution? So explain to me why I should be mad that this happened yesterday. That a group of people took matters into their own hands because they felt like there was no other way to do it. And that's where I'm at. And I know, and like I said, I'm a conservative Christian. I don't hate Trump. I really don't think it would be that bad if he became president. But guess what? I'm really not very mad about what happened last night either, because if you're gonna, that it sucks. There's casualties in war, but maybe whatever happened to taxation without representation? Yeah, we're getting that taxed out of our butts every way and form nowadays. You can't even go help someone build something and make $600 without supposedly having to pay tax. So it is, that's pretty much, I feel like there's good cops out there, and if any of them were the ones that got killed last night, that's really sad. So does that mean the people that the cops shot were guilty? Last I checked, all the ones on the news were innocent people that didn't have guns on them. So what makes that a lesser deal than the police getting killed? Why should I automatically side with the police? They're the good ones. They're the ones that had the guns. They're the ones that signed up. They're the ones that accepted that responsibility. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. That's biblical. That doesn't not apply. The police aren't above the word of God. So, and you don't think that those people who went out there and actually did that last night weren't taking a risk they were taking that risk for their family, for the future, and probably for our whole country, for all our freedoms. The police, that's the whole point of the Second Amendment, is so that the police and the government can't control us, can't take total control over us. So, yeah, it's sad, and yeah, it's crazy, and it sucks, but you reap what you sow. Don't bite off more than you can chew. And I feel like those people decided that was what they had to do for their families, for their future generations, for themselves. Whether that meant life in prison or death, that's a pretty freaking courageous thing to do. I'm not trying to say, go commit kamikaze or whatever, or suicide bombing, but I don't. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with it. It's crazy how happy you can be until you actually go through the system or become firsthand dealing with the system, and you see its flaws, and you see all this. You can't even work on a car. You can't even do certain things to a car without it being illegal, without having to pay, without having to do this, without having to do that, without having to. You can't. That's it. Just. I felt like that. I felt like those people felt what they felt was right in their hearts, what they felt like they had to do, and that's where I'm at. And I felt like I want to make a video about it. So.